During my final year of high school, something peculiar occurred. It was football season, and our school was bustling with excitement. Football games were a big deal, mainly because our team was surprisingly good. One particular Friday, during a less-than-serious elective class, my friend JJ and I were goofing around. With a game scheduled for later that day, we decided to invite our friends Kayla and Ashley, since we were all familiar with each other. After school, JJ dropped me home, and we reconvened a few hours later to pick up Kayla and Ashley. Armed with some Four Locos in the car, we covertly poured them into water bottles for the game. We snagged seats at the top row of the bleachers, eagerly awaiting the match. As darkness descended during the game's later quarters, our team's performance took a nosedive. Disappointed by the outcome, many spectators began to leave early. However, we remained, planning to hang out on the field afterward. Once the game ended in a resounding defeat, the field and bleachers fell silent. With most people gone within minutes, except for a handful of stragglers, the atmosphere started to be strange. In our slightly intoxicated state, the team's loss didn't dampen our spirits. When the field lights shut off, JJ suggested exploring the woods adjacent to the football field. The idea appealed to us, especially knowing it would spook the girls. We teased them by pretending to lose them in the dark, but our jesting was cut short by a chilling encounter. Amidst the shadows, we spotted a towering figure, seemingly a woman, standing ominously between the trees. Her sudden appearance and stern warning startled us, prompting a hasty retreat. Back in the safety of the car, we recounted the incident. Later during that summer, when I was working as a custodian at the school, while mowing the grass, I glimpsed the same woman staring blankly from an upstairs window. Alarmed, I alerted my boss, who accompanied me upstairs to investigate. However, there was no sign of anyone in the math classroom. Later, as I mopped the hallways, I heard a woman's voice calling out to me, sending shivers down my spine. Despite thoroughly searching every classroom, I found no trace of the mysterious voice. Convinced that something paranormal was going on, I confided in my boss, who dismissed my concerns. Terrified by the possibility of encountering the apparition again, I avoided the math hallway for the remainder of the summer. This story happened during my sophomore year of high school when I was around 15. Lunch periods were a bit of a luck of the draw affair, and this year I found myself only with my buddies Liam and Mike in that time slot. After a few months, a new face popped up in our first period astronomy class. Our teacher made the newcomer Craig introduce himself. Craig ended up sitting next to me. As the days went on, it became apparent that Craig's sense of humor didn't quite align with mine. His jokes were crass, and he had a penchant for constant vulgarity. Despite my discomfort, I found myself partnered with him for group assignments. Fast forward to lunchtime, where Liam and I were joined by Craig, who seemed to have designated himself as a regular fixture at our table. Liam and I exchanged knowing glances as Craig's odd behavior became more apparent. After school that Friday, as I walked home, Craig inexplicably began tagging along. He even tried to invite himself to hang out with my friends later that evening. His persistence and strange behavior left me unsettled. Things took a turn for the worse when Craig started showing up uninvited, even going so far as to wait outside my house. Feeling increasingly unnerved, I decided to reach out to my teacher and explain the situation, opting to work on assignments alone. The situation escalated when Craig attempted to lure me outside, claiming there were police cars parked nearby. It became clear that he was the one causing trouble, prompting me to alert my family, friends, and eventually the school authorities. It turns out Craig had a history of similar behavior, which explained his frequent school transfers. Reflecting on the ordeal, I couldn't help but wonder about the potential harm he may have inflicted on others. Thankfully, he never returned to our school, leaving me with a chilling reminder of the dangers. In the rustic setting of rural New Brunswick, the onset of early September marked my return to school, albeit with an unexpected twist. Having faced setbacks, I found myself resuming my senior year at the age of 19, amidst the familiar corridors of a small school where everyone seemed to be acquainted with one another. With both middle and high school housed under one roof, the close-knit community meant I recognized most faces, making for a seemingly comforting environment. As the day commenced, I found myself in study hall, the first period of the day. It was there that I first encountered Chester, a newcomer to our school. Eager to extend a warm welcome, I approached him and initiated introductions. Chester revealed that he had just relocated to our area, prompting me to offer a tour of the school, guiding him to his next class. However, as we traversed the hallways, I couldn't shake off a nagging sense of unease. His line of questioning took an unexpected turn when he inquired about my address. Sensing discomfort, I opted instead to exchange Snapchat details, hoping to maintain a friendly rapport without divulging too much personal information. Later, during English class, I found myself seated amidst a small group of students, including Chester, whose presence seemed increasingly unsettling. With only a handful of students in attendance, including myself, Chester's gaze fixated on me from across the room, his expression shifting between curiosity and something more ominous. Despite his persistent attempts to beckon me over, I remained focused on my studies, only to be interrupted by a Snapchat notification from Chester. His message urged me to follow him, a request I found deeply unsettling given our current circumstances. Ignoring his text, I watched as Chester abruptly excused himself from class, disappearing into the hallway. Driven by a mix of curiosity and concern, I sought permission from our teacher to leave the classroom, asking for a bathroom break. Venturing into the deserted corridors, I trailed behind Chester, maintaining a cautious distance as he led me towards a seldom-used section of the school. However, when Chester disappeared into the basement through a door left open, my instincts screamed danger. Refusing to follow him into the unknown class, I retreated to the safety of the classroom, blocking his messages on Snapchat. As night fell and I found myself alone at home, a series of chilling messages flooded my phone, each one more threatening than the last. Terrified, I sought refuge in a closet as the sound of breaking glass echoed through the house, prompting a frantic call to the authorities. I waited in fear as the footsteps of an intruder echoed through the house, praying for the arrival of the police. Miraculously, they arrived in time to contrast any potential harm, but the ordeal left me shaken to my core. In the aftermath, I sought answers from school authorities, only to be met with a shocking revelation. There was no record of a student named Chester ever attending our school. It was a chilling reminder of the dangers that lurk beneath the surface.